He died of unknown causes at 18, and everyone, particularly the Guild, St. Hilaire's psycho-elitist town council, wanted to know why. And it was just like him to avoid everyone's attempts at contact. Ian Mackenzie was a prima donna even in death. Today, all the registered mediums in town, which was damned near all of the 367 year-round residents, had been required to gather in the brick square near the weathered statues of the town's founders. A cloud of incense smoke hung over the humming and swaying crowd. Some of the kids banged on tambourines. A group of healers focused on an empty chair in the middle of the square, hoping to convince Ian's spirit that his return to this plane wouldn't be a painful one. I lurked in the back, as far from the spectacle as I could park myself and still be considered present, trying not to be annoyed that my best friend, Russ Griffin, was taking it all a little too seriously. Russ was wearing the long black coat he'd barely taken off since he bought it over a year ago, arms uncharacteristically relaxed at his sides, breathing in synchronization with the other mediums. "Ian," he whispered, loud enough for me to hear, reverentially enough to set my teeth on edge. "Are you seriously playing along with this?" I hissed back. Russ's eyelids fluttered open as he readjusted his focus. He licked his lips and rubbed the owl-winged tattoo on his wrist. The ink was so white it was almost invisible if you didn't know it was there. "Well, I thought, he said, and looked away. Unfortunately, I did know. And what I knew was this. While I was planning to leave St. Hilaire, and all of this paranormal weirdness in precisely 13 days, 4 hours, and 15 minutes, give or take, Russ was equally determined to prove his worth as a medium and become a guild member. It used to be easy for Russ and me to avoid even talking about the guild, but now that our senior year at St. Hilaire High loomed, and along with it, the expectation that we'd join the guild's youth corps along with every other senior, the tension was tearing a fissure in our friendship. I looked at the clouds, giving myself a minute to embrace the anger I always felt when thinking about the organization that ran our town. My rage settled into a burning in my stomach that sought a focal point. When I couldn't stand it anymore, I forced myself to try to relax by fingering piano scales on the legs of my too-hot suit pants, speeding up and slowing down, hoping to lose myself in the notes. It might have worked had my phone not started to ring. Once, twice, 3 times, each louder than the one before. The chanting around me stopped, as hundreds of pairs of eyes turned to stare at the person who had ruined their chance to summon Ian's ghost by forgetting to silence their phone. I stared at the ground while I reached into my pocket. My phone had been ringing off and on for days, with unknown numbers showing on the screen, and no one there when I answered. The smell of incense, something I'd loved as a kid and that reminded me of my parents, was making me nauseous. In truth, everything in my stupid town was making me sick. So instead of silencing the phone, I turned and threw it as hard as I could into the neighboring park. Then I stalked off after it, all of St. Hilaire's eyes weighing heavily on my back. I squirmed in my stiff shirt. My skin was already damp with sweat, and all I wanted was to be able to hold it together until the end of the night when the tourist season officially ended and we could get our lives back. The sun moved slowly through the trees, giving the leaves an eerie glow. It was hard to know if anyone from town would come to the park after me to make sure I was okay. If anyone did, it would be either my younger sister, Laura, or on Russ. No chance.